Hello everyone, welcome to Bowls, the theory of everything. Today, the importance of preparation. Have you got a game of bowls to prepare for? A national game, a county game, a club competition? You may not have these competitive games to play, but you may just want to play to the best of your ability. Either way, if you know you've prepared well, as much as you've got time for, you can be satisfied you've done your best and can be happy, win or lose. Firstly, how is your life outside of bowls? Well, how is this relevant? Under my bowls theory of everything, I believe that there will be a good chance you'll be happy and relaxed in your bowling if everyone round you in your life is also happy and relaxed. Try to integrate your play with the rest of your life and give your close ones as much love as you can. I know there are exceptions. Sometimes bowls can be an oasis in a sea of troubles. Sorry about the mixed metaphor. As for yourself, try and relax. I haven't done yoga or Pilates myself, but I have tried self-hypnosis. One of my best periods of bowls coincided with a few months of back massages. Visualize yourself being successful, picture yourself playing well, delivering accurate shots and staying composed. Practicing. Practice for your own form. Generally, play yourself into good form before a game. When you practice, practice with specific aims in mind. If you've got any weakness, such as long jacks, practice those. If you're going to be leading and you know your skip will be asking for minimum length jacks, practice those. If you know the opposition have good lead bowlers who are likely to pack the head with their bowls, practice your weighted shots. If you know you're likely to be on a ditch rink, we have two here, practice on them. Practice for a specific rink. If you're playing at home, you can practice on your own rink a day or so before. If you know that the green you're playing on is quicker or slower than your own, try to find an equivalent rink to practice on. If there's not one available, practice short jacks for a quick rink. In other words, it's going to be very quick, so you want to practice short jacks so you can get the short lengths. If it's the other way around, if it's a long jack, if the green is slow, practice long jacks. Some indoor rinks are extra long, and when you put up a full length jack, it's very easy to bowl short. You can practice for this by putting your mat one behind the tee on your rink. So if I know we're going to play on a long rink, 2 yards longer than this, practice putting the mat here. And then put the mat on your tee, and there you have that extra length you can practice on. If the game is very important and you're very keen, you can make additional preparations. In my younger days, I took pre-match preparations to an extreme. I wanted to get in the Sussex team. I was bowling for a small country club and it was difficult to get noticed. I told you about this in my video, The World of Competitive Teams for Bowlers. I could not get past the quarter-final of the main Sussex singles, so I entered the Sussex unbadged singles in 1983. I reached the quarter-finals, but the date for this was right in the middle of a 10-day family holiday in Yorkshire, some 260 miles away. What could I do? Well, I broke my holiday, drove myself to my mother's house in Hove the day before my match, and went down to the club in Hove where the game was to be played and practiced on their green. I got the pace and the exact line from my bowls, and the next evening, well, I won the game. Then I drove back to resume my holiday the morning after. In the semi-final, I was to play at the prestigious Preston Club in Brighton, which had a much quicker green than my country club. I tried to play in the nearby Preston Park, but those greens were not fast enough, so I managed to play at an all-weather green at Haywards Heath, about 10 miles north of Brighton. It was lightning fast. I thought this would be good preparation, but in the semi-final, I went 11-0 down. I did, however, go on to win 21-13 and win the final and play 1 or 2 games for Sussex, so that preparation was all worthwhile. Practice for your opponent. If possible, study your opponents or ask fellow bowlers about them. For example, are they draw bowlers or firing bowlers? Do they fade in a long game or are they dogged players? Assess their strengths and weaknesses and develop a game plan. Be prepared to adapt your strategy and tactics based on how the game unfolds. Immediately before the game, make sure your clothing is comfortable and appropriate. Clean your glasses. You don't want smeary glasses. You want to get sharp focus of everything that's going on. Use an eye shade. Sometimes I find these lights are a bit glaring in here. Sometimes I put an eye shade on, and surprisingly, it does help you take the glare away. Make sure your bowls aren't slippery. Use an appropriate thing like Grippo, and make sure that they're not slippery, but they're not over sticky either, and give them a good polish. It's worthwhile doing that. Also, make sure you eat well beforehand. If it's a long game, you need to build up your energy, and take energy food with you, such as a banana. We purchase this in which to put your banana. If you've got one of those horrible looking black bananas, much better to put it in one of these. At my previous club, there was a policy of not eating anything that was not purchased at the club bar. I did, however, carry on with my bananas. Eventually, they had to accept it. So, and one more thing about bowls, apart from being clean, if you keep your bowls in the boot of your car in the winter, beware, because when you take them inside, the difference in temperature will make them get condensation. And then they get slippery, and they're like a bar of soap for about 20 minutes. Aim to get to your venue in good time so that you can relax and have a cup of tea or coffee. You can change, find out what rink you were on. I like to go onto the rink and visualize which lines I need to bowl. I pick my aiming points on the bank. So I'll give you an example. If this was a new club and I was going to play away, I'd come on here. I'd look at any games in progress to see what the speed of the green is like and what width bowlers are taking. That would be the first thing I would do. If there's nobody on the rink, I would step onto the rink myself and imagine which lines I'm going to bowl. I'd pick out features on the bank, the stools up there, benches up there, other things, and I imagine which line I'm going to bowl on which length. And then I'd try that on the trial end and then adjust it accordingly. I'll even walk down the other end and look back this way to see if I can pick out markers for my aiming point down this end. And bear in mind, of course, on the ditch side, I take a marker on the final pillar down the end, and I just visualize my shot and feel at home, prepare it all in your mind. This is what I used to do years ago. The modern player will probably arrive with headphones on, listening to the latest release. Whatever works for you to be relaxed. Try and loosen up and go through some bowling motions. You can go through, you can actually just somewhere in the changing room, anything, just loosen yourself up, get the feel of the bowl, so when you go on the rink, you're not dead cold. Practice your relaxation techniques so that when you get onto the green, you're not tense. You're ready to relax and bowl that first bowl. You may well have practiced a lot of the relaxation techniques in the days and weeks before the game. And in doing so, you may have built in a trigger that you can get relaxed very quickly. It can be pulling your ear or tapping something. And that should invoke, if you've made a link, it should invoke that relaxation in you very quickly. I think I've previously said sometimes counting down from 100 to 99, and that's anything you can do. Just make yourself relax when you step on the green. When you step on, you're throwing the jack first or your first bowl. You can step onto the green if you've prepared in the way that I've described. You'll be confident that you've done everything in your power to get ready for the match. You may not have had a lot of time. You may have plenty of time to do it. But whatever you've done, if you've done it to the best of your ability and been thorough about it, you know that you've done your best, win or lose. So you can then relax and get on with the game. And finally, remember, your first few bowls are important. So, preparation is the key. Thanks very much. Please subscribe to get my next videos notified. And as always, I'd love to hear your comments. I reply to them all. They're valuable and they help me prepare future videos. Thank you very much. Good night.